So, finishing up this journal that we've made, and if you haven't seen the tutorials, you'll need to check those out, but we've made the cover, we've added the signatures, we've filled the book, and now it's time to make some ephemera. I'm probably not going to show you all the ephemera I will add to this book, but I want to show you some simple things. One of the things I realized is this is Tim Holtz Flourish stencil, and it's a repeating pattern. So you can see that I have covered this paper. This is just some manila cardstock, and I'm using my gathered twigs. I'm using an Eco Tools, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it says Eco Tools brush from Walmart, just an inexpensive brush. And I'm gonna show you how you finish this up. I started out lining this up towards the bottom, and what you need to do is line up, hold on, let's see if I can get this to line up again. We need to line up these pieces, and it's been a hot minute since I started this. There we go. So you can start to see where things overlap, and you're simply going to overlap it. If you are really picky and need everything to be perfect, I recommend you use some washi tape to hold everything down. Or there are some metal things that you can use magnets on it, and it will also hold everything down. That makes your life easier if you have those things, and I'm realizing I actually have those things. But again, it's not all about the perfection, it's more about the process. And yep, it's getting all over my page down here, and that's okay as well. It'll all wipe off in the end, and so I'm not going to worry about it. So now I'm lining this up again, so I've moved vertically with this. We're going to simply finish filling this in. Now I have a whole piece like this, and I've done 2 of these. We're going to cut one piece into 4 pieces to make journal cards. This one we're going to cut into 3 pieces to make tags. All right, I'm going to move the ink out of the way for right now. I'm going to grab my trusty cutter. People have all kinds of ones. The thing I like about this one is I can fold it up and it makes itself very small as well. So there are a lot of multi-tools. When using 8.5 by 11 paper, I like to cut my my tags at 3.5 inches. That reduces waste. So these will be rather tall tags. And I did have to measure out here on the edge to find out what 3.5 inches is. So I've got that 3.5 inches. Now, if we leave these this tall, they will actually be the same length as the pages in here. And I feel like that may be just a little bit too tall. If you want to put these in a pocket or something, you're going to want to shorten them, maybe even by 1 inch, especially that way then they're not sticking out of the top. I'm only going to cut about 1/2 inch off of the bottoms of these as well, just to make sure that they don't stick completely out of the bottom. You can leave them full length as well, totally up to you. That's the awesome thing about paper crafting, is there's a lot of freedom to kind of do it however you want. All right, there's that. Next, I am going to grab my handy dandy this is a Memory Keeper's tag punch board. I'm going to grab this. Now, if you don't have one, the other thing I recommend you do maybe is you cut one corner, take that piece, flip it over, put it on this side, and cut it. I just like to use the tag board because then I know that I'm getting everything the same. There's a better consistency as far as I'm concerned. Plus, I like this angle much better. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Today, of course, I'm on camera and it's not going to work. All right, so I've cut that side. Then, so we use the D. I'm going to flip it over and use that D line again. And it comes with a handy dandy little cutter. It works most of the time. And we're going to set that one aside. We're going to cut this one at the D mark as well. And the other side. And one more. Now for me, these are all going to be consistently the same size. Flip that over, one more. So that's just a personal preference. You don't have to obviously use one of these. All right, the other thing I want to do real quickly while I still have it out is I am going to cut this down. So if this is 11 inches across, half of that is 5.5 inches. So I'm going to cut this down to the 5.5 inch mark. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. 5.5 inches this way. And then it's 8. So it's 11 inches this way. It's 8 inches this way. 8.5. Sorry, 8.5. So I need this to be 4.25. Let's see if I can line that one up too. 4.25 will now cut these in half. And now we have even sizes for our cards. I'm going to decorate these very similarly because we've got the same background on these. And so obviously you can make more or less of these as well. Get this out of here. One of the things I do like to do with the punch board so that I get my hole even is I like to use it to line up my hole, but I will not use this hole. I'm going to make a bigger hole. So I kind of use this to kind of find my middle, and then I'll use that hole again to show me exactly where my middle is. Alright, so we've got holes there. I'm done with my punch board. And then I have just a regular old hole punch. And I think I have, yep, I already have some pre-made reinforcement labels from Avery, inexpensive ones. So I have these already made, and all I've done is taken my ink pad and gone over them so that I have them ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and, oops, did that in the wrong order. I'm going to go ahead, I flip it over so I'm not distracted by anything, but I'm going to go ahead and make this hole bigger. So if you are brave and just want to poke holes, go for it. And then the other thing I like to do if you don't have a hole punch is just take a regular old stapler and just staple some lace on the end. You may have noticed I've done several like that as well. And so we're going to do this. We're going to put down the hole reinforcers on all of these. It matches, because I've used the same ink, it matches this. Oops, I put that on the wrong side. You know what? Some people put them on both sides. I think I will this time. I'll put them on both sides. And one more. Trying to get those to line up. There we go. And we'll put them on both sides. That really reinforces that hole for when we go to stick something through it. All right, so now we have this. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and ink up all of these edges. So my plan is I'm going to go ahead and ink them. I'll leave the camera on, and then I will just speed everything up so you don't have to sit there and be bored and watch me ink all these edges. now I have all my edges inked. The last thing I'm going to do, I think a lot of people look at the back of the Edith Holden book and there's all the lists in the back and think, what in the world am I supposed to do with those? Well, I'm going to show you. We're going to use those up as part of our tags and journal cards. So grab one of these. Let's grab one that's already apart. I'm going to grab one of these. You can pick either side, whichever side you want. We're pretty much going to cut these in half. And I like the way this one is better done. So I'm just going to keep ripping this. We're going to rip this all the way down. Then, at least, I'm going to go ahead and pull quite a bit of the edge off because we don't need all of this. And yes, there are people who tear certain ways and they want it to be a specific way. I'm not that particular. And what we're going to do is put half of this, I'm going to go ahead and just tear more of this off to get it a little bit more thin. And what we're going to do is glue half of this on one, kind of sort of towards the middle. I'm going to take just a little bit more off. Again, this is totally whatever you like and however thick you want to make this. But I love how all of these colors go together. We're getting a very muted, colorful, monochromatic color to it. All right, so this is, I want this to kind of line up with across the top here. And I think I'm going to come down to about right here and tear this part off. And then I'm going to simply use some Fabrifix. Again, I like to use Fabrifix on paper. Sometimes I'll actually use a glue stick, but today I want to use some Fabrifix. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I did not. I'm going to stop right there because I need to do the edges of this as well. I just realized I forgot to do the edges. Now I am not going to do all three of these tags today. I'm going to show you one tag and then I'm going to do one card and then I will come back and show you what they all look like when they're done. And we'll put them in the book. We'll get all the ephemera put in the book and it will be ready for its big recording. I will go in and record all of that. All right, now we've got that. I would love to use a little bit of lace on this, and of course I like to put the lace across the bottom. But I'm also going to add a couple of other items. So before I do that, I want to think about where I'm going to put my flowers. These are flowers that I've fussy cut out of a book. It's a field guide, I think, to flowers. These are not Edith Holden. So this is out of a very different book. I'll make sure I list the title below to that. But I would like to put some flowers on these, and I think they would be really pretty. So you could put them here, or you could put them over here. I think I'm going to put mine here. So depending on the flowers, so for example, if I was using these flowers, I might put them over here. As a matter of fact, this is supposed to be this way, and I am thinking I just may do that. So if I put that there and I put some lace down here and I grab, so I cut out, these are all cut out, die cut from a Tim Holtz die cut, and I put maybe a little heart there. I like it. Let's go with that. So I am going to go ahead and ink the edges of this picture as well. All the way around. It's kind of tricky to get in those little corners like that. That's where maybe using a brush might work better. Play around with it. See what works best for you. Again, I'm going to use my glue. Any glue will work. I just like that this is an acetone-based glue so it doesn't curl my paper. And so that's definitely one of the things I like about it. And other people don't like it because it is acetone-based. Totally up to you. We're going to glue that down. I'm going to grab my fabric scissors now, and we will put some lace across the bottom. Again, I kind of like to leave just the top glued down and not glue the rest of it down. I think it adds a little bit more dimension. But if you want to glue your whole piece of lace down and you're doing this exactly the way I am, then go for it and glue the whole lace down. I would like to also put a wee bit of cheesecloth. Yep, I heard you. You knew exactly what it was, didn't you? You're like, that's cheesecloth. It is. And I got it now. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of this cheesecloth also behind the heart to give it a wee bit of dimension as well. And this may be more than I need, but I'd rather have too much than too little. All right. Looks like I'm just using that heart to measure it. Don't panic. All right. Oops, where'd that go? Get that out of there. So for me, instead of trying to glue this down and glue this then on top of it, I find it's much faster and easier to take the fabric and put the glue on the fabric, and then we'll glue everything down in with this glue that's already on the fabric. All right, so that's going to go about right there, because I do want it to come up a little bit higher than the lace. And then we just push that down. And if you feel like you need to do a little bit of trimming, maybe this is too much for your taste. For example, I don't like that little bit that's sticking out right there. I'm going to cut that off. You can also go back and fray it and pull all the threads so that it frays. But now this has got just a wee bit more of the colors on it. Then I'm going to go ahead and grab a brighter pink for this. Well, maybe not. I think maybe I will just use this light pink. We'll see. This pink might go better with something else. Or the other thing we can grab is my spool of twine, if I can find that. Or we could even add some lace. So hang on a second. I just remembered I have some of this coffee dyed lace, and I think, no, I'm not sure I like that. Okay, not going to do that. Remember, this is a process, not a tutorial. So I'm trying to find things as I'm going. Another thing is just some regular thread we could use. And I think I'm going to go with the twine. Just made a decision. So cut the twine, fold it in half. Now, some people go one way, I go this way. I go straight through with the twine and then tuck the ends, grab those ends, pull them through, and then we're done. So that is the tag. Now let's make a card. And we're going to use the same technique. So the question you first have to answer is, do you want your card to look like this or like this? Because of the width of the pages, I'm going to choose to go this direction. And I am seriously going to have to clean up this mess when I'm done. Again, we want to grab a piece of paper from that list. Again, I love how the words work really well with the colors, so kind of keeping it a little bit monochromatic. We don't need a ton of this, so I'm just going to tear this down a little ways until it's about the length that I want it, and I think I'm going to tear this right across here as well. There we go. And that is a nice size piece, but I think it's still too big. I'm going to cut it down one more time. And so these will all match when we're done, and they will all look like a matched set. And that is kind of what I'm going for here. I've got that done. We'll glue this down. Glue all the way around the edges. And I'm kind of generous with my glue, so if some seeps out, you can go back and wipe it down. All right, we have that. Let's find, I would like to go with another pink flower. Oh, I like that. And I kind of like that over the edge like that. And maybe we'll do something a little bit different. Nah, we're going to just do the same thing. It makes life easier. And I don't have to think quite so much. Going in, inking the edges of this as well, just like we did for the tag. All the way around. I'm going to pull the lace off for now. Go all the way around to the edges. And this is where maybe using a glue stick could be an advantage, because then you really make sure you get the glue all the way out to the edge and you don't have any little edges sticking up. All right, there's that. Now, if you're going to try to tuck this into a pocket, I don't recommend you put the lace at the bottom. You may want to try to put the lace at the top. For me though, I am probably going to just paper clip these into the journal and not worry about it. We're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to put some glue on the edge of the lace we're using. Put that down right over the top of everything, kind of center it. This lace does not reach edge to edge, and that's okay. It doesn't have to. Again, we're going to grab some scrap, and maybe I'm going to go with a slightly smaller or a slightly bigger. I like this size. We're going to use this heart on this one. And again, need some cheesecloth. If I'd gone with a really small heart, I probably could have used that little scrap of cheesecloth, but I didn't. And so I need to pull this apart again. Let's see if I can pull some of this off. There we go. All right. And then this heart will fit right in there. So I kind of see where I need to cut. I want to cut right along that fold. And we're going to put that down. That may be a little bit too long for under this size heart. Nope, I think it's going to be okay. All right, so glue on the heart now. And again, a little bit generous with the glue so it holds the piece of cheesecloth down. And make sure you press it all the way through the lace, because you want that to go all the way through the lace. And now we also have our journal card. So we have our tag and our journal card. I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of these, and when I come then in the next video, we will go ahead and put all the ephemera into the journal that I've made. And I'll show you a variety of different other ephemeras that I've made as well. I'm not using digital kits in this journal at all. I wanted to make it all from scratch, so I'm using things that I have on hand, just like most people. All right, see you in the next video.